come from the CX outsource business, so I spent over a decade working for companies outsourcing contact centers, call centers across the world. And then I spent 3 years in the consultancy business, direct CX consulting to business. And what's been exciting, I think, in our industry and appropriate to the point of this webinar is that, there has been a change in that industry. And Phil First earlier talked about the maturation of the outsourcer into the orchestrator category. And the reason that I joined TTEC as a global organization, as a CX service business, is that they have become what I would define a CX business orchestrator. And that makes it really interesting. And Niccolo, on your slide, your point 7, you referred to that as needing to deepen partnerships to help transform your business. And that's really the exciting thing, is that the world has become so extremely complex in the CX space. And the question posed to this session was, what has been the impact of COVID? And the impact has been something else that Phil first looked at, was that some of the technologies, or 5 of the technologies in particular, that have become essential for survival, process automation, AI, smart analytics, hybrid or multi-cloud, and 5G. And you look at that and go, well, what has been the impact in our industry? And the impact is that the complexity has got greater, the need has become greater, but how do you demystify the issue of massive complexity? So in the world of global technology and business services, there are spot solutions, there are technologies, but there are many competing technologies, and it's very difficult for an organization to know how to navigate their way through all of the technologies and services to find the right solution. So I think that building trusted partnerships with people who can help you navigate your way through this very complex field is important. And that's why I came in and joined this business, because I think it's interesting to go in and say, we can talk with an eye of God. We can look across all of these things that we implement and use ourselves, but we turn this on the client organizations to understand, how do we solve those issues? And that's, I think, an interesting transformation. And out in the industry, there are forming these relationships with people who know how to advise, how to consult, the right technologies. That's been the interesting thing. But I think going back to that original question is, what has been the impact of COVID? It has been to say that all of these technologies have now become absolutely critical. I would say that they were critical for a business's competitive survival previously, but now they are there because of the fact that we need to implement all of the different technologies to make automation possible, to make people work safely from home, to implement Gig CX, for example. These things, even if you look at Gig CX and you look at the vendors who supply alternate Gig CX solutions, they operate differently in different regions. And you need to be across all of these solutions to provide what is the right end game. Thank you, Justin.